All right, good afternoon. Hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for joining us today. As Carmen said, my name is Callie Murphy. I'm an experiential marketing manager with BBK. I think I have probably one of the best jobs in the room because I get to work with Visit St. Pete-Clearwater, of course, both out of market, attending events and coordinating events, and then also bringing ambassadors and working with ambassadors here in the destination to highlight all of you guys, all of our great partners and the destination. So I'm going to be talking about brand ambassador programs, how to work with them, best practices, and then we'll also be hearing from some of our long-term brand ambassadors as well. So first up, why engage with brand ambassadors? So brand ambassadors help us extend reach through strategic partners. Also, they help us expand audience and reach. So raise your hand here if you've used social media today. Okay, great, awesome. According to Forbes, there's currently 4.63 billion active users on social media. That's a lot of people. So working with our great ambassadors really helps us share that, those storylines to a very dedicated group of people. And they also help us build trust. So according to Forbes, 7 out of 10 consumers trust ambassador recommendations just as much as the opinion of real-world friends. So they have their favorite ambassadors that they follow. I for sure do. 3 of them are here with us right now. But they're sharing tips and tricks and brands that they trust, and they're telling you they trust too. So it's a really big reason that we put so much focus and emphasis on these great relationships. They also help us tell a really deep, rich, authentic story. Additionally, they help us create brand advocacy. And last but not least, probably Eddie's favorite thing, they help us curate content to use across earned and owned channels. So everything from blogs to photos, videos, they're helping us use their skills, which are amazing, to create our channels and make our channels even better than they already are. So how to engage brand ambassadors? I like to say, and the way that our strategy is, it's really a mix of art and science. So for Visit St. Pete-Clearwater, what our strategy is we use an AI software tool to help us, really find these influencers, people who align with our, brand strategy and our audience. And then we also use a manual approach. We get on the phone with them. We learn more about them to really make sure if we're going to invest in a relationship and bring someone to the destination, that they're a true brand fit. And when we're doing that, a couple of considerations that we take into mind are, do they have an authentic connection to the brand and this specific campaign strategy? Do they have a strong follower engagement? We're able to see, okay, they have 30,000 followers, but are people really engaging with their content? Are they liking their content, commenting, sharing? We want to make sure that is, very strong, of course. Do they have a dominant audience representation in key markets? So we work really closely with our paid media teams, strategy teams, our friends at Destination Analysts to understand where should we be reaching folks right now? Atlanta, New York. In the fall, should we go elsewhere? So we really make sure we're partnering with ambassadors who have key audiences in those markets. Are they able to provide a diversity of talent, voices, and themes? Are they skilled in creating high quality content spanning emerging and traditional platforms? So TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, blogs. We want to make sure that we're working with creators across all those verticals and platforms so we can really have a wide depth of content. Relationship roadmap. So we want to work with people who, we're going to be able to really create a beautiful relationship with for many years to come. The ladies who are going to join me in a couple minutes have been long-time brand ambassadors with Visit St. Pete-Clearwater, and that's something that's really important to us. We want people to be a part of our team. So, when deciding to work with a brand ambassador, really look and see what does that roadmap look like and how can we really flourish the relationship. And then last but not least, is there strategic alignment as it relates to campaign deliverables and the return on investment? So a lot of times you are going to have to put maybe a little bit of money behind a brand ambassador campaign. So that's really on, your marketing teams to say, is that a good return on investment? What is that going to be? and how can we really get the most bang for our buck. So our results, I'll get to the numbers, but I want to share a fun little clip of a highlight reel of some of our recent campaigns. All right, and that is just a clip of what we've done in the past 12 months, and thank you to all the partners who have worked with us to really make these campaigns such a success. In the last 12 months, from March 2022 through February 2023, we have hosted and partnered with more than 10 ambassadors, reaching over 793,000 potential visitors, resulting in 46,400 engagements, so likes, comments, shares of all that beautiful content. And then additionally, the Unwind and Be Kind campaign that we love and talk about so much with our friend Trash Colin did win a Gold Hospitality Sales and Marketing Award that will be honored next month. So we're really excited about these accolades and looking forward to continuing the success. So with that, I'm very excited to introduce our panelists and long-term brand ambassadors who are going to be sharing tips, tricks, and lots of other fun information with you guys. So please join me in welcoming Alexia Gonzalez, Dana Perez, and Rachel Cavallo. Thank you. Yes. And I did not tell them to wear pink, but that just shows that they are truly great ambassadors as they are aligned with our strategy.
We're on trend.
Very on trend. Okay, awesome. So like I said, we're going to talk about the evolving world of brand ambassadors. We have a couple questions lined up, but we will be opening it up to the audience. So if there's anything you want to ask these lovely ladies in pink, write your questions down. All right, so ladies, please just give us a little overview on yourselves.
Hello, I'm Alexia Gonzalez, your local ostrich for the day. Just kidding. I'm the creator of The Gal Life, a local digital platform focused on what to do, what to see, where to play in St. Pete. I own The Gal Group, which is a creative marketing firm, as well as St. Pete Gals, which is an organization for empowering local female creators and entrepreneurs. Excited to be here.
My name is Dana Perez. This is my third time working with Visit St. Pete-Clearwater. I'm really excited to be here. I'm actually based in New York City, so I have a travel Instagram, YouTube, blog, so I do all of the things, content creation. So yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Hello, my name is Rachel Cavallo. I own Outcoast.com, which is Florida's only statewide LGBT-focused tourism travel guide. And I'll also be hosting our first LGBT tourism convention called Flock in August. And I want to thank St. Pete-Clearwater for being a sponsor of both our website and our upcoming conference.
Awesome. All right, here we go. Ladies. We're hitting it off hard. When visiting the destination, what surprising stories, partners, have left a positive mark on you, and how could other partners emulate their approach?
I can take this one. I'm personally a big fan of the Dali Museum. I think that their approach in terms of playing locally and acting globally, a lot of folks don't realize it's the only surrealist museum outside of Spain in the world, essentially focused on Dali. So it draws this huge international crowd, and obviously it's a salient, entity in the community. But the way that they interact with local creators and influencers, making immersive opportunities for content creation that sometimes are seldom offered, I think it's a great example. Also, just it feels very organic. They create community, which is more so important than followers numbers. It's that sense of community, and I think the Dali does a great job at that. So.
I want to go visit now.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. I always think having a great experience with just that personal connection when you see people love what they do and it translates to the destination. I just love having those personal connections with tours, restaurants, hotels, just having that, just customer service basically, but just having that welcome feeling really makes the destination feel really special.
I have two quick notes on this topic. So when I moved to St. Pete back in 2017, and what actually made me stay here, because I had stayed in Dunedin for like a winter-long getaway, came down to St. Pete. I drove down Central Avenue and saw rainbow flags everywhere, and I'm like, I belong here. And that was my first impression of St. Pete. The other thing is, I don't know is Clyde here from the Belmar? Is he here anywhere? So another thing too, I also think it's important to have that local feel. I'm a local in St. Pete. I love St. Pete. I naturally market you guys more than anywhere else. But Clyde, we had an issue one day with some construction stuff in the back of our house, and we needed a place to stay for a night. Last minute, I called Clyde, I'm like, hey, can you help me out? And he delivered, and not only does he deliver as a human, I mean, he's a general manager of an amazing resort property, but he's out in the community, and I think that really does make a difference when you're looking at businesses, not just marketing and being a business person at the business, but being a local and a human beyond your brand.
Yeah.
Great responses, thank you. Next up, when sharing St. Pete-Clearwater with your audience, all of you guys have a really wonderful audience, both nationally, internationally, locally, from New York. What is the number one item that surprises them when you share, visit St. Pete-Clearwater with them?
I think David did a great job at speaking of this. Beaches, a lot of folks think, beaches. Well, there's a dynamic, layered cultural art scene with all the museums, not even that, the Moraine Art Center, as we saw with glass blowing. These are hands-on classes that are offered in this community that you often wouldn't find in a different market. It might be more inaccessible to someone to just roll up and say, hey, I want to do an glass blowing class this weekend with my significant other, and you can easily make that happen. These touch points are accessible, and it's not this sense of kind of aspirational luxury. It's real, it's authentic, and it's fun and unique. So I think that's really important. Also, as a Hispanic American, I think showcasing the diversity of different minority groups and not only just translating, but also trans-creating and making that content feel organic to all kinds of groups, minorities, and demographics.
Definitely. I know the beach, obviously, but my followers are really surprised about how many amazing dining experiences that you can have here. And I went to an amazing Mexican restaurant last night, and I was just like, everything was just so good. I feel like maybe people don't know that. And also, as a visitor, I definitely feel like the art scene I would love to see more of, and I didn't even know about that museum, so I just need to know more about the art scene, but the dining, yes, the dining experiences here are really amazing.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm going to be biased with what I focus on, but right now especially, there's a lot of political things going on regarding Florida. We can't pretend that they don't exist. And I think one of the things when I promote Florida or promote St. Pete, and I know how inclusive this destination is. I know there's more rainbow here than any other color. And when I share that, a lot of people are surprised sometimes, and they're even more surprised to find out that this is a hub for lesbians. Fort Lauderdale has the gay boys, St. Pete has the lesbians. And in fact, that's why I'm here. I'm kidding, I'm married. But you also happen to have the only lesbian bar in the entire state of Florida. Nobody knows that, but they opened last year. You also have Salty Nun on Central Avenue, another lesbian hub. This doesn't exist anywhere, and you have the biggest pride festival in the entire state of Florida. So when I see that bubble up there and there's no LGBT or pride highlighting, that shocks me, and we need to share more information on that.
Thank you. Next up, where do businesses or partners miss the mark when setting up a content creator campaign?
I think sometimes longevity. Sometimes I'll work with a business or a brand, and we land on a post, one thing, and then that's kind of the end of the relationship. I think there's this need to keep it going with additional content, fostering that relationship, because hey, that influencer may connect you to another influencer that they're close to, and you kind of keep that door open. People or audiences don't get tired of repetitive collaborations. They want to see that because then they feel more trust and confidence. But I think extending those campaigns, that longevity, having multiple brand touch points, so live streams, Q&As, these are all, almost more engaging than just a static post, because you can actually inform and educate the viewer and the audience.
That's a really great point. For a campaign like itinerary and things like this, I feel like it does take a lot of work to make the content and the photos, and I feel like having that time just to make the content look more really natural, I think it really tells a story. If I need 2 hours at the beach, I'm not just laying out, I'm actually shooting photos, flying a drone, and it does take time to make that content really feel authentic. So just having kind of a free time, and also showcasing different kinds of partners and places to see in the destination, I think will really. But I don't think anyone misses the mark making a trip, because they're all amazing. It's just having that little time in between.
had a great idea and I just lost it. I definitely, duplicate what they say as well. I think for me, okay, I got it back again, we're good. I think for me, ADD brain is really a struggle, but that's what makes me great at content. When I think of, so I get approached a lot, so I'm a little different than you guys, because you guys are in your brand a lot, you're in your content a lot. We're a little different because I'm a publisher of a travel guide where I'm in the content, but I'm also running a magazine, and we are very selective about the partners and advertisers we use on that digital platform, because I don't need certain brands popping up on my website. So we don't run the typical media ads and Mediavine or the ad programs typically. We rely on people to invest in our content. So a lot of times we get asked to do a lot of free trade stuff, like, hey, we'll come give you a vacation, it'll be amazing, we're not gonna pay you, but we want you to promote us. And while we don't mind doing that sometimes, especially if it's a destination we really, really wanna go to, vacations don't pay the bills, right? So we've had destinations, especially in my demographic, we've had destinations that will host us, not St. Pete-Clearwater, you guys have always been amazing, but there are certain destinations who have invited us, want to use our content and reach the LGBT market, but not invest in the community. And you can't do that because the LGBT community will see right through that when you're utilizing the community to market your destination, but not actually investing in that community. So something to think about when it comes to some of those minority groups, invest in equality, invest in supporting the community you want to attract to your destination.
That's great, thank you. The next question is going to be geared towards any partners who want to plan their own trips with creators or programs. So maybe Dana, we'll start with you for this one. I think you had a really good initial response, but what's your preferred way to experience a destination? What materials do you want to receive beforehand? Do you want to be alone? Do you want to be with, have guided experiences? Right. Just some really great tips of how you amazing partners can go and plan your own your programs and campaigns.
I definitely prefer an individual visit that's highly targeted. I also love to collaborate on things to do. Don't mind a phone call or just even my own planning, even though you would probably be better at telling me what to do because you're the expert and I also want to know what's in and what to do. I also think I can create the content in my own time frame. I feel like it's really important just because sometimes in a group setting, while it may be important if it's surrounded with a certain event that you can only do it with a group, I think an individual visit just makes you create the content in a more natural way and how a traveler would actually visit a destination would just kind of be on their own. But I do like having a little bit of an itinerary just so I know where to go, what to see, because if it's just on my own, I might just I don't know. I'll do things, but having itineraries makes you see a lot of things to do in destinations, and it kind of gets you out there and trying new things. With free time, a little bit of free time in between.
Rachel?
Yeah, I mean, obviously with my niche, it's I've done a little of everything. So I've done video where I'm in it, I've done video where I've actually brought other influencers in to show some diversity, because LGBTQ doesn't just mean 42-year-old Caucasian woman, it means there's lots of color and other people inside it. So we've been diversifying. I like a mix of where the client asks us, what do you want to highlight? What's important to your demographic? I know Florida really well. I'm unlike you might travel all over, I am in Florida. I'm in Florida every day. I get to visit the different places in Florida. I'm networked on social media in Florida. I am a little older than these girls, so I am on Facebook and watching social media groups. So I know where some of the bars and clubs are. I like to reach out to the local LGBT people in those destinations and say, hey, where are some things we should highlight in this video? Doesn't mean I always want to do gay stuff. I get tired on Fridays. I decide I take off on Fridays from being gay. I need a break. But I like a collaborative approach. Tell me what you want me to experience, but let me also tell you what I think we should do. We just did another video. I really don't take off on Fridays. That's not part of the plan. But a little further south, we just did a video and I said, you guys are known for weddings. Let's do a lesbian wedding video. And I just so happened to have 2 lesbian friends that were getting married, and we kind of, 2 birds with one stone type of situation. So it's great when I get to have some creative flexibility and I don't just have to go with an itinerary. And please give us a little break in between, because takes time to change your clothes for the next activity.
Before Alexia goes, one thing that I'll say, and a tactic that we've really been weaving into our ambassador trips is pairing ambassadors with local ambassadors. So this summer we had 2 lesbian ladies, Sarah and Rachel, who came and joined us, and they hung out with Rachel for the day, and they explored Gulfport, and they said it was one of their favorite parts of their trip. They got to hear from locals where to go, what to see, who to talk to, and time it strategically. So that was on their first day. I mean, we let them sleep in and everything, whatever. But then they got the lay of the land from a local, and they loved it. So really keep that in mind when you're planning your trips. And like Dana said, of the itineraries, put your mandatories into the itineraries. If you want to make sure someone goes to a museum, the Dali, whatever that is, have that authority to ensure they're, highlighting the talking points that you want them to.
Yes, and I think these days there's quite a trend in bespoke travel, so that really tailored, personalized approach, which obviously you can't inform unless you speak to a local who knows where to go. But I kind of like Rachel, I have a unique perspective, I think. I used to work in the corporate public relations world and plan these press trips. So I see where you come from, the destination partner, the hotel partner, the need to kind of showcase everything, but also the side of the influencer media, the need to have relaxation periods to create, because it's exhausting to create content. You need the time to edit it, to kind of unwind, to get yourself together. So a healthy mix of both, I think, is important, and allowing folks to mix and mingle, but in an organic way that doesn't feel like super forced on each other, because not everyone's gonna vibe, and you want people to vibe.
That's great. So success, obviously it's very important to measure the success of your campaign. So how did the content perform? That's something that we really look at from the brand side, but I think it's also to hear from the ambassadors of what is a successful campaign to you.
I definitely think beyond the metrics is like audience sentiment. When I get DMs, messages, emails even about like, hey, you said this place in one of your videos, like what about it? I love hearing that personal feedback, because whatever I do in a trip really is resonating with my audience. And some things can't be measured. You don't know if people are taking the messaging that we're relying on. But I think that audience sentiment, when you just get those messages, I feel like makes me really happy, actually, just to be like, oh my gosh, they loved it.
Yeah, I think this is an important question, because I think there's a lot of times that I work with a lot of different partners throughout the state of Florida, and some of them are very, very hell-bent on knowing what the numbers are and specifics. And that's what they gauge everything on. Like, we don't have a huge Instagram following like you might have. We don't have a huge TikTok following like you might have. But I'm all over Facebook. I reach that millennial plus. We have a website. Our website tracks, the most traffic on our end. Like, that's where we get most of our traffic from. So it's really important to look at things beyond just numbers. That's what I want to just emphasize. I'm a local too, so I get to promote St. Pete. I'm all over, so I go out to events like this and speak, and I get to highlight this destination. But what's a win for me is I just actually had a woman message me this morning, and she's like, I'm going up to Massachusetts, and I can't wait to get down to St. Pete. I've been following you. I can't wait to get down. Can I meet you while I'm there? Like, it's kind of this whole experience, and she actually she's not even really visited St. Pete much, and is already talking to a realtor about potentially moving here. So, those are always wins for me. So you have one more resident, Steve, that we can now utilize. Or content.
Definitely sentiment, just the same thing. I'm from Miami originally, and I had my bachelorette this weekend in Miami, and I can't tell you how many people I can convince to move to St. Pete at the nightclub. Yeah, come to St. Pete. But the sentiment, obviously, seeing maybe that follower spike right after you post about a certain partner or destination, and also something that a lot of partners don't consider. If you're working with a blogger, someone who can actually, create a page, always ask them to include backlinks to your platform so that you can, numbers, we got it more important than numbers, but I often see that's not asked, and I think it's so important because yes, we can't always count heads and beds and how many folks this influencer got to book a reservation, but you can see that traffic and that pickup, so I think that's important to remember.
Can I add one quick question to that too? Just kind of a note. So we get a lot of questions sometimes on like click-throughs, right? We put ads on things, you want to know how many click-throughs it is. Keep in mind too that sometimes those ads are awareness campaigns. You know, when you drive past McDonald's and you see the golden arches, you may not be hungry at that minute, you may not turn your car at that minute, but you're thinking about them the next time maybe you're looking for food or you're hungry when you're on the road, right? So we can't track that. We can't track if someone's seen your ad. I mean, we can see that someone's the impressions, but you know, you also have to make sure that your ad has some kind of call to action. Pretty beaches are beautiful, but they don't trigger someone to actually click on it. So something really important just to point out for people looking at some of those vanity metrics.
That's great. Couple more questions. One, Alexia alluded to it well with backlinks. So what other things should partners be including or asking for with content? Because it's not just Instagram posts or Instagram stories. What's the number one, tactic for content that you think partners should be leaning into as, this world of brand ambassador programs evolves?
I always like to, when I'm working with a brand, pitch a content bundle. So I give a few structures to see what would fit best with their needs. Maybe it's just one post, maybe it's kind of like a monthly recurring partnership, maybe it's a blog post and an Instagram post, maybe it's a TikTok and a blog post. It depends what their need is, and I want to show that I'm able to tailor based on their needs to also provide the best ROI for them. But again, backlinks, if you have a blogger who can give you a blog post, just push on those backlinks. If there's any way that, that you can keep that traffic coming back to you, that's key. And push, like I kind of mentioned earlier, lives, like live streams, Instagram lives, Facebook lives, TikTok lives, those are booming. And even YouTube right now, the videos that I work with VSPC, they're about 10 to 11 minutes every video that we do monthly. It's kind of like a monthly campaign, but the sweet spot that we're seeing in the analytics is 5 to 6 minutes of watch time. So yes, 30-second videos are trending and video is king right now, but consider those lengthier videos where people are actually telling a story.
I love that, because I have a multi-platform business myself. As a blogger, I have my blog, YouTube channel, Instagram, and TikTok, and now YouTube Shorts. So there's all kinds of content, and plus Pinterest. I forgot about Pinterest. I love doing, basically combining everything. I love doing a blog post. I see huge traffic on blogs, especially for the state of Florida. Everyone loves Florida, and I love providing blog content in Florida. And not only that, I see a lot of, on my YouTube videos especially, it's a very personal connection, and I can see if people are booking a hotel through affiliate links. I can see how much are people booking in Florida specifically just from my videos, so it's really important to see. And I love doing all kinds of platforms just to see what's working, and you can also reach different audiences that way.
Yeah, I'm similar. We have multiple different platforms. We do a lot of the long-term, long version videos for YouTube. In fact, one of our most popular videos that we've done to date was a video in Dunedin with me and my wife. So that was a good thing to think about is doing some of those long-term videos. We also do TikTok and all the different social media, and of course, like I said, Facebook. I'm still there. I feel like that's never disappearing. But I think you guys have said like most of what I'd probably recommend there.
Also, keyword, I was going to say SEO.
Yes.
Even in captions, keyword optimization is important. It's not only for websites. So ask the influencers, ask the bloggers, hey, do you mind throwing in these 5 buzzwords as many times as you can? Like, don't be afraid to ask, because they'll most of the time do it. So keyword optimization is huge, even in YouTube.
And I want to add to that. So for those of you who are used to print advertising is the perfect platform to do kind of like a vanity piece about your business. It doesn't translate very well on digital, because just because you love your hotel and you want to highlight it, your business or your jet skiing company, unless someone already knows the name of your company, that doesn't translate in an article or a blog on a platform. What you're going to look for in a blog is how are people Googling things. If someone says best jet skiing company in St. Pete, or LGBT friendly, which happens all the time, our number 1 article on our website is LGBT friendly places to live in Florida. Number 1 article. Also lesbian fashion for some reason. I'm totally not a fashion guru. But think of those kinds of keywords when you're looking. I mean, obviously the Dawn Cesar is known. People Google that all the time. It's a high competition keyword too. But think about that when you're creating content. We look at highlighting our partners, but also making sure SEO is top of mind.
All right, audience, any questions for these lovely ladies in pink? They're also around networking. Yes, yep.
Hi, so you all are under 60.
My wife is 60.
Perfect.
I got it.
You
We
all
represent.
represent. So, and I'm guessing your audience matches that demographic as well. No? You
We
said
got a little older.
A little, okay. So St. Pete-Clearwater, the brand guy earlier, sorry, David? So David pointed out that St. Pete-Clearwater does really well in an older demographic, following really bad in the younger traveler following. Where are we missing the mark with your audience?
I can touch on that. Well, I think kind of what we discussed and how David shared the cloud of doom and happiness at the same time. The fact that, beaches was a predominant word where maybe, the older crowd knows to go to visit stpclearwater.com and they're gonna, know to hit, museums and maybe look at other things because they're familiar with the destination. But if you're targeting an audience that's a bit younger and unfamiliar, you wanna find those unique kind of surprise and delight aspects like the art and like the cultural scene that maybe isn't as salient on social media as a drone footage of Treasure Island or, the beach. We wanna see more of those. We want to use more of those kind of organic, authentic storytelling tools to capture that younger audience who, the Gen Z thrill seekers, they want to do these unique hands-on activities. It's not just about, hey, let's kayak on the beach. It's a little more layered than that. So I think our goal, at least mine now, is to create more content to reflect that diversity.
I think also, so our platform's interesting. We have the older generation. We definitely get the LGBT seniors who have lived in Florida forever, and we still see that growing. We also attract a lot of millennials. If you look at our Google Analytics, it's really across the board, and it peaks in millennial and it peaks in the baby boomers. I think, obviously, I speak to my demographic because that's what I hyper focus on. The younger LGBT demographic in our world is very much into thinking of life as being fluid and inclusive. And, I think if we're highlighting more of that in advertising, you're gonna hit some of that marketing, or do ads around Pride. I'm not saying only advertise during Pride season, because we don't have time to do all the content just in Pride, and we need to be celebrating that all year long, but there are a lot of ways to hit our younger demographic with certain marketing. I also wanna see, we make the assumption that baby boomers only wanna do relaxing on the beach or senior things, but I wanna see a video campaign where a baby boomer is jet skiing. Let's mix it up, because it sounds young and vibrant, but you're still hitting the baby boomer client. And I know a lot of 67-year-olds that still get out there and kayak and jet ski, so.
Yeah, I'm just gonna touch on also, I think the inclusivity, I don't see, one thing I've set out to do with my platform is to create more Hispanic targeting content using Spanglish, a mix of English and Spanish, because the Latino American, that's how they're speaking, so reflecting that and not just making this visit St. Pete's Spanish account. We want it to reflect in day-to-day and be inclusive across all demographics. So yeah, I think, just showing a bit of more of the layers and the vibrance of our community, and looking at the trends kind of that Steve touched on, the bleisure travel. That's a huge thing for folks in our age range. I know that'll be hey, my boss doesn't care if I spend 3 days working from, this place, so I'll come visit you and extend my trip to stay in St. Pete longer. So maybe having hotels create free Wi-Fi incentives or check-in that's, earlier in the day, so that business travelers can take advantage of that and think, hey, if I'm gonna plan a bleisure trip, it's gonna be in St. Pete-Clearwater. So, looking at trends.
And I wanna add one more with trends. We can ignore politics all we want, but make sure you're paying attention to what's happening out there, because people travel based on what's happening and the messaging they're getting. So you may be in your happy world thinking this is the best place in the world, it's super inclusive. Other people might not see that, especially if they're outside of the state. You're watching the news every day, they're hearing maybe a different messaging. So don't be afraid to stand up and say, my destination welcomes all. We make sure that everybody belongs in our hotel or our venue, etc. So, don't ignore those things. And I'm not saying go put a huge political ad out, we don't want to do that either, but at least be aware enough about it so you can welcome people at the same time.
Any more questions? Maybe one or two? Yeah, please.
There's been a lot of talk at the federal level about banning TikTok or reducing to diminishing TikTok. The FEC got involved in all that. So I know there's a lot of other platforms that are doing the short form videos. Do any of you see one of them being the next successor? Is that YouTube Shorts? Is it one of the ones that Instagram does?
I think definitely YouTube Shorts is like coming up there. They also have an incentive program for creators to post on Shorts. You're gonna get a bit of ad revenue off of views per video, which is the only platform for short form that's actually doing that. Like Instagram doesn't pay you. TikTok has a creator fund, but I don't even know about that. So I definitely think YouTube Shorts is going to be really big, and I posted a few videos and they do very well organically. So I think that's going to be the future for short form. And also, I also love actually Facebook video, even though maybe that'll be the future, but I feel like they have great stories on there, and I think just being a part of every platform could be helpful because you can reach as many eyeballs as possible.
Yeah, and I think Instagram. I don't know if you've been following Instagram news, but there's been a lot of pushback on it, like toward Instagram, because they tried to really turn into what TikTok is with video and formatting and reels. They're now going to, at least it was said recently, that they're going to go back to making sure photos and videos are equivalently seen. That's going to be a newer trend. I have done videos. We do some of my top trending videos on like TikTok or Instagram are typically gay people dancing at a bar or a pool party or like having fun. That tends to trend for us. But it really varies. Like Instagram, a lot of times we have way more success, and I don't know if it's just the demographic that's going onto our platform, but Instagram will keep doing reels, of course. And then YouTube Shorts I've dabbled in, but because our long form is on YouTube, we're probably gonna shift a little bit more that way. You've inspired me and given me one more thing to do, thank you.
Yeah, YouTube Shorts definitely is where it's at. I personally hate TikTok. I strongly dislike it. So, I mean, I'm on it, but I just don't love it. YouTube Shorts, Be Real is not a video application, it's photo, but it's trending, and it's showing that demand for authenticity, because what it is your picture and then the picture of what you're seeing. So it's like two pictures in one, but it's really just showing that exact moment. So it's that demand for, real storytelling. And again, when these short form videos are being produced, like they take a lot of work. I put in so much work, drone footage, all this stuff, hours. Put it up, it does okay. I put up the one with the least amount of effort, and it's the most high performing video of all time. So again, consider that need for authenticity. We're not saying looking crappy by any means, but being real and telling the true experience and story. Maybe it's not all perfect. Maybe something went wrong during their stay, but we're gonna be real and authentic about it all. So I think Be Real, they did a good job with that.
Yeah. That's great. All right, any other questions at all before we wrap up? Okay, well, thank you guys. These ladies will be around afterwards.